Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am Sentient Dessert. Welcome to my channel. Tonight I'm going to continue with Sunless Sea. It's been a fun story progression. Taking care of a few things before getting into it. Some lovely music to go with this so that you're not sitting in silence for watching. My back just started suddenly hurting, so I have no idea what's going on. So if you hear me say ow during this, just assume that it is not random. I got a request to the place up north, so that is where we are going to head. Be about getting some extra supplies, visit the sisters before I leave entirely from this area, and then search for the mountain that I'm supposed to go to. I was supposed to buy supplies. Here's hoping the sisters will let me visit and get supplies at their place. Maybe I'll kill some wonderful little crabs along the way. Always worthwhile to stop in at a port. The dock report just got some income when you get back to the city. We'll throw it away. Those do nothing but slow you down. Quest found. Water's at the dock. In one supply, I've gained 1 fuel and I've lost 10 terror. Wonderful. We're keeping the steps for the game of truths, a helpful riddle Fisher explains as she fills your cup for the 3rd time. Every year, the people of the Irem and Wither meet here for, he pauses, contests, he finishes vaguely. The difference between a question and a riddle one day, someone will prove themselves enough to enter the castle. Spend a pleasant few hours while the tea is supplemented with Iremi liquors, ale withered beer, and something the riddle Fisher describes blandly as snake cake. They offer you fuel and supplies before you leave. Keep enough to spare, the riddle Fisher grins. From time to time, a captain gets lost and comes up here. We always feel bad for them. Report. Feels like a vertebrae's out in my back. Because I didn't feel anything pop. Codex. out past the second line now. Mount Palmerston, that's what we're looking for. It is a volcano. As long as I don't have half the gun, we're good. Oh, that's not good. The AI on these guys is better than the others. Actually, try different tactics. Need to remember to fire every time comes available. Almost have you. Better have some supplies on you. Rolling stars. The lookout shouts far above. The false stars in the cabin roof are shifting. A rare, ominous event. What now? Record the change and assign a name. Eyes on deck. Read them to you. Look. I was fortunate. Our sailors claim it resembles the sun. Yep. Restless nights. In the watches of the night, you pad softly past the hatch to the crew quarters. A man cries out softly in his sleep, desperately another. Let us hope that you have supplies. Or supplies. Wonderful. Now let's come and visit Mountain. I lose crew when I take some. Good to know. Very good to know. You give the hooded shape a sign of recognition. It hisses the reply you expected. You hand over the crate. Receive a chitty marked with thief sign. Look down and see Port Palmerston like a toy in the ruins of gravel. You've come far, but the volcano's cone still rears above you. Rest a little before you go the last half mile. The road to the crater ends at a brass gate in the crater wall. Beside it stands an oddly charming little cottage, thrown together from pumice and basalt, but it features honeysuckle. An equally charming deviless in a tea gown leans against the cottage wall, whirling a parasol and fanning herself. I am the guardian of this place, he remarks languidly. You may not pass, but I can offer you a cup of that word, tea. Not one of the poisonous ones. No doubt she'd be much less pleasant if you tried to break down that gate, but just now, she's a courteous, soft-voiced woman in a tea gown. The tea is hot and nutty and rather pleasant. She asks about your voyage. She is desperate for news of London, of its mists, its nights, its sick, its poor, its fires. He tactfully turns aside questions about the convention, but she shares some of the secrets of the Neath. Come and see me again, she says, next time you're here. He shrugs gracefully. Bring me a present if you'd like. An occurrence. That's all for now. Mount Palmerston. Chat to the port folk. Port report. Yay. Dig among the ruins. Buy supplies here. Buy fuel. We can buy supplies and it's not as badly priced places. Guard. No. Dice. And let's try to dig among the ruins. I have an outlandish artifact. How many of them died down here? You could bury them in ash. They're so choked and jumbled you might as well leave them here below. The whole island is the unholiest imaginable ground. At least you have souvenirs, 3 grinning skulls and a carven crooked cross. Right. There. About 4 supplies, maybe 5 supplies, and 6 fuel to get out here. So I'm gonna come down. Visit Fieldhaven again. Then cut across and clear up some of the stuff. Remember to keep an eye on my health. My hull is only about a little bit less than a third. Maybe my back was just a small spasm that caused a muscle to start hurting. It's gone away. Nope. I don't want to deal with the shark. Oh. Pull down here. Yes, Maelstrom. The mist, hopefully the shark will not see in here. Good, good. South. Guessing that's what this is. Big Moat Island. Step into the quay. You hear clamor, shouts, and shooting. You can see, off in the distance, smoke rising from beyond the hill, and dots of fire flecking the horizon. Two tiny figures stand a little farther down the quay, unmoving, as if awaiting your approach. Following is an extract from the popular Diary of Z Captain from London to Irem and what we did there before we arrived. Washed ashore on Mutton Island, and subsequently serialized in the unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. Tale of Pigmoat Isle. Delegation is made, choices presented, war is declared, most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded with law. The figures were rodents. My left was a Rattus Faber wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig wearing a helmet and breastplate reminiscent of nothing as so much as the high Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed. "Welcome, Captain. The Rat Star Island. I am Edgar, second chief engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost, you is a choice." Rat stepped back. At precisely the same moment, what appeared to be the ease of long habit, the guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. "Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Cavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereux Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, seneschal to our king, Gracenaw, first of his name. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost of you is a choice." You stood at attention, looking at me expectantly. Kind of like rats a little bit more, but we'll go with the chief engineer. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. "We came to this island to make a home for ourselves away from London. Its cats, its snuffers, its rat-skin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the Rat Star that shone above in blue on Mount Ararat." The chief engineer nodded towards the distant hill. "One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of the Mount Ararat we plucked the Rat Star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavi saw the light, and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours. We will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them?" The seneschal cleared her throat with a delicacy to rival the Duchess's own before speaking. "Gracenaw the king, our lord and sovereign, full 7 months has sojourned on the sea, conquered this land, and won the southern main. Now no fortress against him shall remain, no city walls left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind mountain. Unlikely was the lamb of our deliverance, assured shall our glories and their fall. When our lady's eye restored be our hall." Seneschal composed herself, then added, We saw truth and beauty in the light of Our Lady's eye on Mount Caveat, but the rats, with their guns and their chatter and their peasants' politics, stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us? I was ready to make my choice. Oh. Peace. Got a feeling they'll turn on me. I extended a finger to the chief engineer and shook it grimly. The seneschal hissed and chattered her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance. You've made the right choice, chief, engineer said. Let me show you around. The chief engineer led me to the northern side of the island, skirting the chickenwoods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we come upon a small colony, smaller than some of the infestations I encountered in London flats. Perhaps only 50 Ratus Faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. The first thing I noticed was a brilliant light, beaming out from a stump of chickenwood about 6 feet high. It bathed the whole settlement in a clean blue glow, and was almost too bright to look at. But by its light I could see several raised mounds of earth, suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, an albino rat mending nets while others stabbed sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks, where a sergeant barked drills at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused in their work to look at me curiously. Welcome to Miriana, said the chief engineer, voice warm with pride. Not much to look at now, but it will be once we've roused the cabbies. Take a stroll around while I summon the war council. With that, he vanished into one of the mounds and left me to explore. Albino rat smiled up at me as from his mending work, looking dainty. An albino rat smiled up at me from his mending work, looking dainty and a little shy. Chickenwood floats, especially when it's dried. So we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. We come up with all sorts of things, blind fish, crabs, sometimes a chunk of broken tentacle. But the fishing would never be good without the rat star. He beamed. I think it only draws good fish. Keeps the scary ones at bay. I know the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. That light is our livelihood. Visit the barracks. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chickenwood jerky to gnaw on. There's more of us below ground, he explained, but not enough. Cabbies are bigger and there's more of them. We're better with weapons, but haven't got the stuff to make them with. Most of us came here as stowaways and brought nothing but food, tools, and the fur on our backs. We can fish, and we can nibble at the chicken woods, but we can't make guns out of trees. Cabbies came with their own steamer, seem to have endless supplies. We raid them, sometimes, but there's so few of us, we can never hold on to territory gained for long. But that's of no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace to build our republic. And the Rat Star, she added thoughtfully after a moment. Of course, we want that too. Take a look at Rat Star after a sip of water. It's not a star, of course. Not really. Try explaining that to the others. Chief Engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince them. Says it's better for the morale, but just look at it. Look! She offered me her goggles. I managed to work them over just enough of one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. It was scintillac, but unlike any I'd seen before. Blue as a sapphire, but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed her goggles back. Those of us who've been in the cavvy side of the island and lived to tell the tale of it say there's plenty of glow there, plenty of bright in the water, all around, but nothing like this. We took this from the island center, Mount Ararat. Only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's a hollow. There's sweet water inside and coral crawling up the walls of it, but nothing that glows, save this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us. I summon the bells of the War Council. So you're going to help us beat the cavvies. How exactly? Strategic assistant, determined to take the lead. Strategic assistant. I dressed up one of me sailors in a mess, shabby clothes smeared with prisoner's honey, and instructed him to roll around in the black earth of the island. Soon we had a glorious mud monster to send thrashing through the chickenwoods towards the cavvies. The distraction worked perfectly. The cavvies diverted their forces towards our makeshift beast, leaving the rats with very little opposition as they plundered the grounded ship. They returned triumphant, as did my sailor, laughing, having led the cavvies' merry chase. In a few hours, the rats' diligence had resulted in the building of a remarkable cache of weapons, which they successfully routed their enemy. Rats, every egalitarian, shared their spoils in addition to the promised food and fuel. Turns. Big Moat Isle might quality is now 4. Now 5. Got Sint Black. 4 bale, 4, wow. Gain 10 fuel. Invite one of the Rattis Faber to join us. Find no tinkerer, work here. Is that what I need was? House of Cavia has fallen. Mariana was triumphant. All that remained here were celebrations. Go here. Well, for now. New nation has been founded. Shops, no shops. Officer. The cook. Oh, you're a mascot. Rats will board even a stinking that costs a lot. Ghetto. Avian Road. Want to do Spirit. Perhaps not right now. Perhaps not. I shall come back later. Now then, we south to Fieldhaven. Theaters more. Then back. London. birds trying to run away from. Shortly going to be at the bottom of the ocean. What did we get? Birkin of prisoners, honey. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Oh, we have... Something awaits you in port. See what it unlocks here. Listen to the tale of the Three Grey. You know the drownies, sailors that won't rest. Well, they rest here. I seen 'em come up out of the water, all white and drippin', and dig themselves into the ground. They take turns. I think they miss the feel of earth. Pilot report. Navigate. I need book. Make our way back towards London. Now I could just thunk. Rock is nearby. Let us see if we can find Abby's rock. Oh. It was very close. Covered this. Abbey Rock. Black pit of an island far from anywhere anyone would want to go. Sounds about right. Resources are limited on the rock. Fair price for supplies. 20 echoes. File a port report. Gift. Look at the dates. A muscular prioress, the abbess lieutenant, comes to the door to listen. She nods and makes notes. She pays particular attention to news of marsh beast predation, the traffic of rooftops. In return, she offers a rather perfunctory blessing, but the blessing reassures your crew. Oops. Let us. On our way to Gator's Morn. Cooked flesh arrives still in its shell from the claw. 8 legs, body, and head. He renders a dozen neat bite-sized piles of shredded flesh, sutured with mushrooms, or pinned together with a needle of chiton. Chitin. That's a strange way of spelling chitin. Perhaps she has missed a calling as a chef. She denies it. My mother was the child of surgeon in the first city. You might say that knife work runs in the family. There's a wicked quirking smile at the corners of her mouth. Then there are rumors about my father. I deny there's any truth to those. Great trade, one of your best discoveries for one of hers. Not hard to drive the bargain. She sits back after dinner and tells you, most people think that the hard part of surgery, finding what's wrong and taking it out. But any fool could tell you a ship's cook with a cleaver have that part of the job. The hard part is cutting so that you can sew it back up again afterward. And she demonstrates on a shark fin, leaving it in better condition than it started. Gunner ran with the regiment to the Urchin Gang, but keep the cannons in High Clock Tower, but the Urchin Gang rejects adults. One more time. Wonderful. Gain 2 strategic information. 1 strategic information. We risk the 50 for an unknown board. Yes. Your crew reaches the limpet, a whole cycle of especially filthy sea chanties. At one point you could swear you heard your name inserted into one of the more complex verses, but you maintain a diplomatic stance. Silence. Not worth it. Explore the morn. Fisherfolk, sailors, called likely pirates. And is that a drowny down by the water's edge? They sit around a fire at the edge, passing around a bottle of something ghostly black. They're wagering on riddles. Will you join them? Tread low. One echo. I've gained 5 fragments. Over here, the ruins of a pirate poet. Oops. Up at London. Track a pirate frigate. Just sitting there, so I'm going to go for the kill. Now just starting to move. What your scuttled ship carries. One supply and 2 fuel. Cask of mushroom wine. Light ship. I haven't visited this light ship yet. They have. Guy wants to look. Well, let it. Guy in return. Beneath you, the eye grows wider. The water begins to warm, to steam. Remove your garments. It may soon be time to swim. And we can sell and salvage. Successful voyage, a successful return. As soon as the gangplank touches the quayside, the terrors of the deep lighten. Walk taller, smile more readily, but what dreams may cling. Labyrinth of Tigers. Mount. Bombing Scholar. Lost one relic. Let us give another antiquarian of or hold nation. Huh. Relic. What do you offer? Outlandish artifact. 100 echo for that. And a fragment. Not. Roser's. That's why I need the outlandish artifact. Dig. I accept our payment. 100 echo. Supplies. Our lodging. Morning paper. Thousand. Put the Admiral pass on the strategic. Not what I wanted to do. Well. But I will get. I wanted to do port reports. Theaters mold. Keep. Let's go to the shops. Oh, the but I had multiple of mushroom ones. Well, if you turn. Have. Back to him for reports. So that is how you do a lot of this. Kind of want I can get that. I will lose my and my iron. Fails in me. I would also have my diminish my same hold, but increased quarters and greater. This would be better if I were doing stealth mission. If I were trying to do. Waiting for this is option. Find ourselves in the wayside, but I suppose we might let hell of opportunity. Let's both drink well, by which I mean my patron ask for you. Take a payment across the ocean and bring back a little package. Asked to pick up package Poly 3. I visit Poly 3. I'm gonna do that to save the gun for tonight. I do believe I will be done. So, my wonderful people, liked what you saw? Enjoy watching my videos? Subscribe, like if you want. Don't do it, I'm not gonna hold it against you. Yeah, I always say right there. Like I'm gonna say anything different. Kind out there, have a good solar cycle. Take care of yourself, take care of others. Safe. I love you all. Have a good night.